Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about how I'm a slow learner and how maybe some of you guys can relate to that. So I'm going to try to keep this pretty concise. I don't want to do a lot of editing. And yes, I'm a slow learner. I have slow processing speed. Now that is a technical term for people whose brains just can't process information in the same speed as the neurotypical. I explained neurotypical, or actually Cara, my friend, did in my interview I did with her for an ADHD interview, which I'll have linked up here somewhere. But anyway, this is about slow processing speed and how when someone has slow processing speed, like I said, they can't process information as quickly or the same speed as the average person. It can also be related to having ADHD. It's also sometimes related to Asperger's or autism. Now, I don't have ADHD. I'm not autistic, but it can be a standalone thing, and that's what I struggle with. And it causes a lot of anxiety, and I do feel like a lot of my anxiety does stem from having this. And this is something I learned about recently. It really just kind of explained everything that I felt and that I've struggled with growing up that I didn't have a name for. So I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, so you know how in your resume one of the first things you learn is like add that you're multitasker, you're someone who can work really well in a fast-paced environment. Well, I had those things in my resume because I felt like that's just what you had to write in there, right? And fake it till you make it and all that jazz. Well, the thing is, I'm not either of those things. I am horrible at multitasking. I am horrible at working in any kind of fast-paced environment or situation. So you can imagine how difficult school and work was for me, and still is today. So for school, for example, I always thought like I'm just not like as smart as some of the kids in the class that are able to quickly get it, learn all the different subjects, especially when it came to math and science, like very technical things like that where you had to really use a lot of your brain power. It was difficult for me to process a lot of the subject matter. Now, having slow processing speed does not mean that you are stupid. It does not whatsoever determine anything about your intelligence, about how you're able to think cognitively and how you're able to assess information. It has to do with how you're able to process that information. So that just means the speed in which you're able to have that registered in your brain and learn that information quickly enough or at the speed that the average person is able to. So, for example, someone can be absolutely brilliant at math and not even realize it because they were not given the time they needed to learn math or to learn whatever subject. So that's basically it. Like, you need extra time, more time than other people, to understand the subject matter, to learn it. So growing up, like I said, it was difficult for me to go through school when it came to those subjects because I just couldn't remember all the information. Memory is also affected, which makes sense because if you think about it, a lot of learning has to do with memorization because you see the information enough times that you're able to now have it in your brain and then you can pull it out whenever you need to. And you need time to remember these things. So you don't always just like, unless you have amazing memory, you can't just be like, okay, yeah, I got it. You know, I can do calculus just like that. It takes time to learn it. And some people are more gifted at certain subject matters than others, so that helps too, but it takes time for anyone. But it takes extra time for someone with slow processing speed. And I just want to make it clear now too that you don't have to have slow processing speed in order to be a slow learner. Sometimes we just have certain topics that are harder for us to understand because everyone's different and our brains work differently, so that's fine. And so this is something that perhaps that even other people can relate to, this video. So if you're something that you have a hard time learning and other people put you down for it or you feel dumb, like this is something that you can still relate to. So I just wanted to make that clear. I don't want it to be like, just people for slow processing speed, and if you don't have it, then you should know better and you're stupid. It's not like that at all. But I'm just talking about my personal experience and what I've struggled with. So let's say work, you need to be in that, like I was saying, in a fast-paced environment to do work, at least in the average workplace in America, in the Western world anyway. I feel like that's sort of the norm. It's like you gotta get it done quickly because that's what's gonna make the money, right? So you're just gotta. Time is money. Time is money. You gotta get going. You gotta do it, and that has been my biggest struggle in life, and which is why I opted to work for myself and not have a boss. And working for someone gives me so much anxiety because I haven't had a boss or a manager who understood what I was going through. And I understand, like, they didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I was slow and I couldn't get the work done up to par to what they wanted. I did good work, I just couldn't get it to the speed that they wanted, so it seemed like I was slacking. So for example, when I was working retail, you can only imagine working retail in LA. It's like you gotta like boom, boom, boom. You gotta put those clothes in the rack. You gotta memorize all of the different areas that these clothes go to. You gotta fix all the clothes to make them look good. You gotta line up the jeans perfectly. You gotta size everything accordingly. And I did that, but it would take me like maybe twice, 3 times, 4 times longer than the other workers. And I would always question myself, like, why can I not seem to get this? And I got like good customer service reviews because I'm really good at working with customers, but when it came down to like the actual activity of like putting things the way it's supposed to, like merchandising the sales floor and things like that, I just couldn't get it. Same with working at Starbucks when I was 16. I just couldn't memorize the drinks. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't understand how these people were able to do it so quickly. Like they were making drinks like a week in, 2 weeks in. I just couldn't understand it, and I was struggling so badly, and I hated that job. It was awful for me. I thought it'd be a really fun time working at Starbucks. It was so hard for me to do. And counting money, like I feel so dumb when I'm counting money. I just can't, like, especially when someone's like there, I feel this pressure, like I gotta do it now. So all that pressure makes it worse and makes it that much harder to process the information and to learn. And I can't do analog clocks. So when people are like, oh, I don't know, at 3 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it's like, I don't know where I'm looking because I have to place myself, I have to visualize the clock, and I have to think, okay, counterclockwise, and then I have to like see the numbers in my head and count them manually in my head because I can't just do it the way, like, I can't just memorize it like that. It doesn't work for me. So I feel so dumb, like when someone's like, oh, what time is it? And I'm like looking at a clock that's not digital, and I'm like, 5, 4, 3, 2, it's like, that's not even correct. See, I can't even think. I'm counting in fives. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So I can't, you see what I mean? I can't process that quickly enough to get it done. And that's giving me a lot of anxiety. Directions, I'm awful at directions. Don't even get me started on that. I am gonna die if there's ever a zombie apocalypse because I don't know what I'd do without a GPS. I would be the first one down. And it's not like I don't try, I try. I know for math, like it was so difficult for me. For the longest time I thought, okay, I hate math. But there'd be some things I enjoyed. There'll be certain problems that I would enjoy doing and I would get it. But then like as soon as it got too difficult and I didn't have enough time to learn it, I would just get so overwhelmed that it felt like I hated math. But I honestly think that if I had enough time to learn it and I was given the proper space to do so at school, I think I could have thrived in math. I really do. And I love science. I just can't process the information quickly. And I'm repeating myself, but I just want to stress the difficulty that I have when it comes to learning. Like when I was going to school for fashion design, I was lucky that I was able to, for a while, just go to school and not work, because I don't know what I've done if I had to work too, because I I was able to graduate with honors, and I put my all into everything I did because I had that space to do so, and it was crunch time. Like, I don't even know how I did it, but I did, and I'm so happy and proud of myself. It weighed a lot on me, and I couldn't understand how people were able to have a job and do this too, and just balance everything, like have a life outside of school. Like, they were partying, and not that I'm not a partier anyway, but I had to sacrifice like some times where I wanted to hang out with people. I had to sacrifice some of that in order to get the work done. So I just don't understand how people are able to do that. And I did have like times where I'd work during school, but it was definitely not something I could have done consistently. I would have died. And school itself was just giving me so much anxiety, and I know everyone already has a hard time with school as it is, but like school has always been giving me anxiety until like my senior year was just like super lax. I love my high school and I love my elementary school. I love my school, but the learning portion of it sometimes got to be difficult, especially like I said, math and the technical fields. I was good at art, I was good at language, but even sometimes when it comes to like grammar, I have to really sit myself down and read through it before I'm able to remember, okay, this is proper grammar. Because I believe that I'm a pretty smart person. Like for Spanish, my school, I've learned Spanish since I was in kindergarten. Like we learned Spanish from kindergarten, and then again all throughout high school, and I still can barely speak. I mean, I can't. Like, let's just be real here. I can't speak Spanish. I can barely understand Spanish. Like, but I learned all through those years. I didn't have enough time to learn it. The time that I had at school wasn't enough time, and that's the thing. Like, it sucks because there are things I want to learn, and I wanted to learn them, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't learn them. It's just the fact that the time it takes for a teacher to teach one subject is like, what, 45 minutes? It's not enough time. 45 minutes, and then of course the teacher is teaching other kids too in the school class. You can't have undivided attention, so that hindered my capability to learn the subject as much as I feel like I could have excelled in them. Of course, this made it so I I didn't feel as smart as other people. Teachers probably felt like I wasn't studying or doing my homework. I did my homework, but like, there's just kind of stuff that wasn't known yet, or at least I didn't know it, my parents didn't know it, and the teacher didn't know, right? So that's how they kind of view you as, like, even though I thought I was doing my all, and there's a point where you can give it your all, but you give it your all and you're just so exhausted that you can't anymore, and it's like that's when the slacking happens. And that happened. Like, there's just a point where, like, all right, I gotta study for this. I'm gonna study for it as much as I can, but I'm just gonna give it an hour. Like, after 30 minutes to an hour, I'm done, because it was like I was burnt out. So it's not like I didn't study for things. I just, like, I knew there was like a limit, which is kind of ironic because I need more time to study, but I was struggling so many other things that I couldn't give each and every subject the attention that it needed and the length of time that I needed to give it. Then I had to go to school the next morning, I had to go to bed, so, and I had other homework activities I had to juggle. And since I wasn't able to give each thing that time, I really just had a cap on it because it would just get too frustrating. The pressure was just too frustrating. And honestly, like, I feel like maybe some of you guys can relate. This does not have to just apply to homework, be applied to your job. This can be applied to society in general when you're at the grocery store trying to, I don't know, pick out groceries and like produce. This can apply to driving. This can apply to applying for jobs, like looking for jobs, doing an interview. When you're asked a question, you have to give it some thought. This can apply to literally anything in your life, because the world is really fast-paced and does not, especially living in the city, they don't necessarily accommodate to people who need more time to learn, who need extra time to process information, extra time to get things done the proper way. Because hey, if they want me to get it done in the time that they want, the work's not going to be done or the work's going to be bad. And I don't want to delegate that to anybody. And then of course I would get fired and all that stuff. So I really struggle when it comes to having a boss. I like to set my own hours. That's like number one for me. And it's unfortunate because not everyone has that luxury. This is why I'm doing this. I want to share with people that, hey, I get it. Like, if you're struggling with this, and people who are highly sensitive people like I am myself, which of course like just adds to the whole craziness. But if you're also like a highly sensitive person, this is something you might be able to relate to even if you don't have slow processing speed, because there's just this pressure and like you can't, and there's like a lot of stimuli going on and you just can't function in the way that everybody needs you to or wants you to. It's frustrating. And then you feel dumb, or people think you're dumb. People think you're not trying hard enough. It's like, and you just want to like tell everyone, hey, I am trying I am doing the best I can. This is all I can give you. Do you understand that feeling? That's what it feels like. It sucks. And this can be applied to anxiety. So, yeah, that's what I struggle with. So yeah, I kind of for a while, like a lot of my life, I just kind of accepted that there's certain things that I just can't do or I'm not able to do. And that's just that. If you're doing your best, it's all you can do, you know, that's it. Your best is good enough. I was lucky that I had a mother who reminded me that my best is always good enough, and to not forget to have fun. You don't want to be burnt out. That's not fair to you. I just wish that more people realize, and more employers realize this too and know about this and can help accommodate to people, because everybody needs to survive. Everybody wants to have a job and to be able to work properly. It's not like, I honestly don't think that people are inherently lazy. Things like this happen in life, whatever it may be, struggles that happen in life cause, I think, a lot of it. I'm not saying everyone, I don't know everyone's situation obviously, but I think a lot of this, the laziness that people have, I know for me anyway, comes from this frustration. And like I said, this is not in any way an indication of your intelligence, of your ability to think, to practice critical thinking. It doesn't mean you're stupid. That's just the way you're able to learn, and that's fine. That is fine. Everyone's different. Everyone learns differently. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. Just continue to be you. Try your hardest to do what you want to do to make yourself happy. Practice self-care. Don't beat yourself up, okay? You don't need to beat yourself up. And you don't have to apologize for being this way, because there's nothing wrong with it. You're just doing what you can, you know? You're just doing what you can, just like everyone else. I just hope that if you can't relate to this, maybe you'll understand other people who do struggle with this. I'm just really hoping there's more empathy surrounding this. And that should be all for now. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos regarding this and personal growth, minimalism, general healthy eating, and really yummy recipes. Please stay tuned for more of that. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.